I was reading the comments under a video the other day about high IQ traits, and the comment section was basically two worlds colliding. One side was like, I got all 10, literally my life story, and is this me? And the other side was like, congratulations, everyone has high IQ, and who doesn't talk to themselves? And honestly, both sides are reacting to the same problem. When a trait is vague, it can feel like a mirror to anyone, and it can also feel like clickbait. So here's what you're getting from me: not a trophy, not a label, and not a feel-good checklist. You're getting a clean way to sort what you're hearing into 3 buckets: what's normal human stuff, what overlaps with other explanations people bring up, and what might correlate for some people, so you can stop spiraling over what does this say about me, and start getting clarity you can actually use. Let's start with the one that always sets people off, because I saw it right away in the comments. Who doesn't talk to themselves? Fair. Most people have some inner speech. You rehearse what you're going to say before a meeting, you replay a conversation in the shower, you narrate your grocery list in your head while you're driving. In real life, it looks like walking into a room and thinking, okay, say it normal, or hearing your own voice in your head practicing a line before you send a text. That's common. The part that matters isn't whether you ever do it, it's what kind of self-talk it is and what it costs you. When it's rehearsal, it's useful. When it becomes a loop that drags you back into the same thought for the 100th time, that's when people start commenting overthink everything and feeling called out for a reason. And that leads straight into the next big comment thread fight, because it showed up over and over. Most of these are ADHD traits too, and pretty much describing autism and ADHD. The reason this argument explodes is simple. A lot of human traits overlap across different stories people tell about themselves. Trouble starting tasks, getting bored easily, sensitivity to noise, bouncing between deep focus and zero focus. Those can show up for different reasons. So if you've ever watched one of these videos and felt both seen and suspicious at the same time, that makes sense, because overlap is real. The mistake is turning overlap into certainty. Instead of trying to decide what you are from a comment section, the useful move is to notice what's happening in your day-to-day and separate "this happens to me" from "this proves something about me." That's how you end up calmer and more accurate at the same time. Then there's the personality war that always sneaks in, and you can see it in the comments too. All these traits closely relates to introverts, and then immediately somebody jumps in with, but I am an extrovert. The reason this gets messy is because introversion and extroversion are about where you tend to recharge, not whether your brain is deep or shallow. In real life, an introvert might relate because quiet time makes it easier to notice thoughts that other people drown out with noise. But an extrovert can still relate because you can be socially energized and still have a brain that runs hot when you're alone. So if you've ever felt like these videos try to shove you into a box, introvert equals smart, extrovert equals not, that's the wrong takeaway. The right takeaway is that some traits can line up with someone's vibe, but that doesn't make it a scorecard. Now zoom out and look at the comments where people weren't debating labels, they were describing a real mismatch. You see lines like, "My test in college now is so low and lucky to get a 30 on a math test," right next to people saying they feel sharp in other ways. That disconnect is one of the biggest reasons people go searching for these videos in the first place. School and work reward specific skills, timed recall, structured output, starting when you don't feel like it, finishing when it gets boring, and those are not the same thing as having quick insights or thinking deeply. In real life, it looks like understanding a concept perfectly when someone explains it, and then freezing when you're alone with a blank page and a deadline. The takeaway isn't, "I'm secretly special," and it isn't, "I'm dumb." It's that execution under constraints is its own challenge, and naming that challenge is the first step to getting out of the shame loop. Which brings us to the guilt-heavy comments that break my heart a little, because they're so blunt. You'll see someone say, "I procrastinate all the time. I'm not very intelligent," like procrastination is a verdict. Or they'll relate to everything and then immediately swing into, "Why am I dumb?" or even, "Nah man, I'm just a loser." That's not analysis, that's self-attack. And it makes sense that people do it, because when you don't have a clear way to interpret your own behavior, you grab the harshest story available. In real life, it looks like sitting down to start something important, feeling that weird resistance in your chest, and then doing anything else because it's easier than feeling stuck. The takeaway here is simple and non-flattering on purpose. Procrastination doesn't tell you your worth, it tells you where the friction is. If you can name the friction, you can stop treating it like a character flaw. And if we're being honest, the most intense comments weren't even about school or procrastination. They were about being tired. People wrote, "It's so hard to live with overthinking," and "struggling to shut off my brain," and "sleepless night," and you can feel how exhausted that is through the screen. This is where I need to be crystal clear. Overthinking is not a flex. If it costs you sleep, peace, and time, calling it a sign of anything doesn't help. In real life, it looks like watching at 1:50 a.m., telling yourself you'll go to bed after one more video, and then your mind grabs one tiny worry and turns it into a tower movie. The takeaway isn't to try to stop thinking. The takeaway is to separate deep thinking from loops. Deep thinking moves you forward. Loops keep you stuck. Once you can tell the difference, you stop confusing suffering with meaning. And then there's the sensory stuff that people describe with such specific detail that you know it's real to them. Sensitive to noise, and the pencil sound has to be the worst sound ever. That kind of comment isn't someone trying to sound special. It's someone describing their attention getting yanked away against their will. In real life, it looks like trying to read in a classroom or an office, and one tiny repetitive sound turns into the only thing you can hear. The takeaway isn't to dramatize it, and it isn't to dismiss it. The takeaway is to treat it like what it is, a real cost that changes how hard focus feels. And once you see that, you can stop arguing with yourself about whether you're being too sensitive and start focusing on what helps you stay on track in the environments you actually live in. So if you've been watching these videos and you keep bouncing between "is this me" and "who doesn't talk to themselves," or between "I got all 10" and "congratulations, everyone has high IQ," here's the clean landing. Some traits are common. Some traits overlap with other explanations people bring up. And some traits might correlate for some people without proving anything about them. The whole point is to stop turning a checklist into an identity and start turning it into clarity. Because once you do that, you don't need to be told you're a genius, and you don't need to call yourself a loser either. You can just be a person noticing what's true in your life and choosing a better way to respond to it. So tell me in the comments, in this exact format, what's the trait, when does it show up, and what does it cost you?